Hello, it's Klepto, and most of y'all know that I'm a cosplayer and game streamer, but what you may not know is that I'm also a huge Visual Kei fan. That's kind of how I got my start on the internet, like years and years ago, translating tweets and putting them on Tumblr. But yeah, I am a huge fan of Visual Kei, and my favorite band is the GazettE. So today we're going to Reita-san's memorial concert in Tokyo. I'm in Osaka right now. Over the last week, I've compiled letters and fan art from fans around the globe, every continent except Antarctica, which is pretty amazing. There's a total of 40 letters and art from GazettE fans. So they're going to have a box at the concert where I can put letters and things inside. So I'll make sure that everyone's words reach the GazettE. And yeah, I was requested to do a live report of the concert, so I thought it would be easiest for me to do it in this kind of vlog format, so that's what we're doing. So come with me from Osaka to Tokyo to go to Reita's concert. And here's the letters and art and photos just so y'all can see. All of it is just so incredibly heartfelt, and I cried a lot compiling it because all of your words, you can tell how much all of you care and how much the GazettE has meant to you. And there's so many similar stories that either I relate to or have a huge amount of sympathy for. And yeah, you guys are amazing. Also, I've got my green makeup today to match with my Last Mile t-shirt. This was from the last live that I saw them at last year, just a little over a year ago. It's one of my favorite shirts, so we're wearing it today. Bye, Hime-chan. I'm going to Tokyo. Yeah, you're a good little cat. So I've been in Tokyo for like literally 10 minutes and already coming out of the gate I saw people with GazettE t-shirts, so we out here. There's so many people here already. They're starting the ID check now, so. Just got my wristband, and over there is the box for letters, so let's go put everything in. I put everyone's letters in this envelope and into this bag, and we're gonna go put it over there. I'm not quite sure which box to put it in because they don't have a box that's for the whole band, but I think we should definitely put it into Reita's box. Let's go. So I am out here at Toyosu Pit, and everyone's letters have been delivered. Now it's time to go find my hotel and chill until the concert, so. So I checked into this hotel, and literally everyone in the lobby checking in was also a GazettE fan. Like, they all have the t-shirts and everything, and yeah, we're all here. All right, I had a nap, I made more stickers, and I don't feel ready for this, but I'm also like impatient for it to finally start, so yeah, we're going. So I realized I forgot to explain the stickers, which is that I drew these little pixel art stickers of Reita in various outfits of his that I liked throughout the years, trying to represent kind of a range of time periods, but of course he has so many that it was hard to even just choose these 7. But I made a bunch of these and put them in my letters to the band, and also printed a lot of extras and handed them out at the concert. On my way to Tokyo, I tweeted that I was going to be giving out stickers, and actually a lot of people saw that, and while I was handing out stickers at the concert, there were like, I gave some stickers to people who were like, oh my gosh, it's the stickers, I saw your tweet, so that made me really happy that people like actually liked them. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. And this is actually, I was able to give away all the stickers. This is the last one that I have from that batch, so I'm keeping it for myself because it seemed like fate that I ended up with just one left over. So it's about a half hour until the live starts, and as you can see, like, people are definitely starting to gather over there. There were a lot more foreign fans at the concert than I expected there to be, especially early in the day while like doing the ID check. There were quite a few foreign fans there, which was cool. It is so freaking humid out here. I'm getting all fluffy, but they are calling the ticket numbers right now. They're on about 500 and I am number 800, so here we go. All right, I just got back from the Gazette's Six Guns Live at Toyosu Pit to send Reita off, and that was quite a concert. Where to start? Hi, this is Klepto from 2 days after the live with my t-shirt from the Dogma tour. I'll just pop in and share some extra info in places where I forgot some things. Well, first of all, we got there and they were starting to come on stage and stuff, and the big question that was on everyone's minds is, what were they going to do? Were they going to have a support bassist? Were they just going to use a backing track or what? And they all came on stage and it was very clear that they were not going to have a support bassist. That space on stage was all set up, mic stand, picks, everything, but just Reita wasn't there. And I think seeing them all on stage and seeing that big gap in the stage really hit then. And it was, I don't know, the stage looks so empty without him. It was really weird. But yeah, so as they started playing, it became apparent that they were going to use like pre-recorded tracks from him. So they came on stage and we jumped right into Last Song, which was a really interesting place to start, which also has been breaking my heart because Last Song is the last song of a new album that Reita was part of. Although they do have a new album coming out later this year, right? Wasn't there something coming up? I'm not sure how much of that is pre-recorded already or what. But anyway, yeah, Last Song was first. Then they went into Undying too, and it just like, you're feeling already that these tracks are really carefully picked out, and we knew that they would be, but we didn't know what they were gonna be. So there was that. And I have this little notebook where I wrote down as much of the everybody's speeches and things as I could. So we're going to go through this, and it's going to be kind of messy as I try to remember as much detail as I can for y'all and read my handwriting that was scribbled in the dark while I was watching the stage and not actually looking at this little notebook, which is just pieces of paper that I stapled together because I didn't have a notebook that was small enough to fit in my live bag. So yeah, another thought was that with them using Reita's pre-recording on the stage, like overall they didn't sound too different from before. You know, their songs didn't sound too flat. It still sounded good. But you don't feel that bass like vibrating in your chest like you do when there's an actual person playing on stage. So yeah, that was. So after those first two songs was the first MC section, which was just Ruki talking about things, which, of course, thank you all for coming to the live. That it's, you know, a different than usual sort of way of them doing a live, and that he knows that everybody has a lot of really difficult feelings about things, but that he wanted this to be a space where everybody could let those feelings out. Told the audience that, you know, it's okay to cry, okay to have fun and headbang and just go crazy, and that whatever everybody has to, you know, throw at that space, they want to accept that. And that was the end of that section. Also, a few pictures have been released from this live, but they're kind of far away and it's hard to tell what they're wearing. They're wearing their black, like, Heresy limited suits, which I thought was a really appropriate thing for this particular live. And yeah, they always look cool. So right after last song and Undying, we have this first like MC set, and then we jump into Tomorrow Never Dies, which is, of course, I'm pretty sure what everybody was expecting to be like an encore or end of the live song, but to play it third was pretty surprising. And this had one of the moments that was really intense because they're singing it, and there's that part, right, where like the song gets quiet for a minute, and then Ruki asks like everyone, like, "Kikoete kai," like, "Can you hear me?" And he stopped to look up at the ceiling and asked Reita like if he could hear. And that was, man, I cried a lot. That was really sweet and thoughtful. Then after that, we went into some quieter songs for a little bit, which, like, I think the audience really needed. Everybody was crying a lot, and that gave a good chance to get some of those feelings out before jumping back into more lively things, starting off with Shiver, which I was really excited to hear live because I do love that a lot, and it's the Kuroshi Tsuji opening, so. And of course at Visual Kei concerts we do Sakigoe, where you call out your favorite band member's name, and there were so many people throughout the time calling out Reita. Yeah, that concert hall was often just filled with the sound of, like, in between songs, the sound of people yelling Reita and then, like, crying. I also want to mention that this was my first time going to a Gazette Live as a member of Heresy. Just due to various reasons I was not able to join in the past. And then after I saw them last year, when they were doing their Last Mile tour for Mass, I was like, okay, I love them so much. I definitely need to like join the fan club in the future and just go to every live of theirs that I possibly can. Didn't expect this to, be the first one, but yeah, Heresy members, I'm not sure if it's a Tokyo thing or a Heresy thing, but they had a lot more Furitsuke than I was expecting. Like, I feel like there's certain songs that if they played that just here in Osaka at a normal concert that wasn't Heresy limited, the movements would be a little bit different or a little more chill or just like headbanging focused, where there was a lot of like more Furitsuke style movements than I expected. And yeah, so I don't know if that's a Tokyo versus Osaka thing, because I know that there are regional differences in Furitsuke, or if that's like a just Heresy thing. So that was interesting. I would say though that Heresy, yeah, they do headbang less than I expected. There was a lot more teban than I thought. The other song that I want to specifically talk about is Miseinen, of course. That's always a really emotional song. So Ruki started off this song by, of course, saying that this is a song that's really important. And of course it is. We know how much emotion they always put into that one. And Miseinen also has a bass solo, and the cheers and crying and just collective reaction when that bass solo happened was really intense. By that point, we'd gone through enough of the sadness that I think people were starting to cheer more again. And yeah, they cheered pretty hard for when that bass solo happened, even though it was just a spotlight on the speaker on the stage. Yeah, everybody put their all into cheering for him. This was also pretty special because it's the first time that I've ever gotten to hear Miseinen live. And yeah, that's a really freaking good song. Having gone from Miseinen to Seinen twice, because I turned into Seinen both in Japan first and then America second, I can tell you that I spent both of those birthdays, which I was having a rough time around both of them, crying and listening to Miseinen. So yeah, have a lot of feels about that song, and it was quite impressive to hear it live. That, and of course, yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies as well. Song I've listened to so many times, and it just reminds me that everyone in that space, we're Gazette fans for a reason. Like, everyone in that space has probably listened to Miseinen and Tomorrow Never Dies and so many others, and cried and found comfort in them. And it's just pretty cool that this band could do that. I mean, as so many bands do, that's what music is for. But yeah. And one more thought that I just remembered too is that the Gazette is this popular because they're so good. Like, they are really, really good live, extremely talented, and you can see how much feeling they put into everything that they do, and they mean this all just as much as the fans do. And yeah, they are just extremely talented and good. So that's why they're so loved, and just seeing them again in person, yeah, never fails to impress me just how good their lives are. I think it might also be notable to say what wasn't in the set list included Wakaremichi, which a lot of fans have been using to, like, say farewell to Reita because it has the chorus that fits really well. But when you look at the rest of the song, that's a breakup song, and it really doesn't fit the situation, and is not all positive lyrics, even though the chorus sounds positive. So, yeah, that was notably missing from the set list. And another thing that I want to mention is how they always left space on the stage for Reita. Like, there was a point when all of them, except for Kai, because he can't move, obviously, came to the front of the stage and they play together. And instead of having that space closed between Aoi and Ruki, there was an open space that would have definitely been where Reita would have been. And they, like, protected that space and kept it open for him throughout the concert, until the very end when they held hands on stage. And even at first you could tell that Aoi seemed a little bit hesitant of closing that gap, but Ruki pulled him over, because of course they don't want him to be alone on that side of the stage. But yeah, they're very respectful of keeping his space open for him. It's going to be really hard to read some of my handwriting. Glad that they could share this with the people who were assembled at the Toyosu Pit, and also all the people who are watching live, the live stream. And of course that it's Reita's birthday, and he, said, "Thank you, Reita, for being born, and we're always thankful that we got to spend this time with you," essentially. Then he said that, of course, the reason that they did a live was because that was the time that Reita seemed to be enjoying himself the most. And while they're speaking on stage too, so imagine they're talking on stage, and just from the audience you can just hear this sobbing everywhere. It's pretty intense. But yeah, so they were talking about how a live was the best thing that they could do to be able to show their love for him. And I'm gonna take a brief pause. And on behalf of all of the band members, he wanted to announce that they decided that they will not get a new bassist ever, because Reita would feel lonely if they replaced him. And that's their reason. So they want to keep him as their one and only bassist forever. And so all the songs at their live shows will be played using his pre-recorded tracks. And for any new songs, because they're very clear that they want to continue being a band, they will use his bass and his equipment. So it will always be part of him. They talked a little bit about Reita's rebellious spirit, and how they want to just be the five of them forever. And at this point, Kai was definitely crying. And Ruki said that, like, because Reita said he wanted it to be, the Gazette forever, they want to continue without taking any breaks and honor that wish. So, especially because for the last 22 years, they've been the Gazette with no hiatuses, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. And so that they said that this is basically all the more reason to continue on. And he said this is just his own personal take on things, but obviously we all die at some point. But he really believes that souls don't disappear, and that he feels that Reita's was there now, and that experiencing all of what everyone was feeling is what part of living. And I sure agree. He mentioned that some people might think that doing a live like this is just for money, or that it's better to disband, and that a lot of people had some hurtful opinions like that. But he really wanted them to know that they just wanted to be able to honor Reita in this way and continue without any pause, that this is not the end of anything, it's a continuation in a different format. He also acknowledged that there's a lot of people who are not ready to say goodbye yet, and that's okay to take care of your own heart, and that's the most important thing. And I think he said something along the lines that all of these feelings are versions of love, that the more he talked with the other members, the more they came to accept things and be able to be strong in this time. And of course, thank you to all the staff who are stuck around and organized this live and everything. And then of course a thank you to the fans and all the people watching overseas as well. One theme that continued, you'll see it comes up in each person's speech here, was that they want Gazette Lives to be a place where people feel like they can come to. And I think that is really important, and that is such a thing within the community here, is that like lives are a certain space where it's okay to be yourself and feel comfortable and things. And I think Gazette is pretty aware that that's their audience, and they want to make sure that people still have that space. His last thing that he said was that he wanted to make sure that people's memories of Reita aren't just sad memories, and said to please love him forever, and that they think that that would make him the happiest, which, yeah, audience was crying at this point for sure. One thing he said was, Reita wa eian ni oretachi to isho ni imasu, just Reita's here with us forever. And he was like, everything he loved is here, and pointed at the stage with all of Reita's equipment, and ended his speech with Korekara mo GazettE desu, like will be the Gazette from now on as well. And finally, one more time, he thanked all the people who are watching through their screens. Next up was Kai, who said that your words, all of the fans out there, all the letters and messages that they received from so many places really saved them, and that Reita won't change within their memories. And he was saying that, he's also in the rhythm section of the band, and that as he was playing, he could feel Reita next to him, and he's sure that from now on too, he'll be next to them when they're playing. Yeah, so Reita's words and the way he felt about things won't change, but he knows that it's really hard to accept this, and he told the fans too, there's no rush to take their time. At this point, he was crying too. And like Ruki said, he said, don't forget that you have a place to come home to here. And korekara mo yoroshiku. So please continue supporting the band from now on. Next up was Uruha, and you can tell that he was having a very tough time. He didn't cry at all, but he also didn't seem to be really looking at the audience at all. He wanted to, thank everyone for being there, the usual. And said that he spent most of his life with Reita. It's crazy. They were friends from junior high school, so that's a really, really long time, not just in the band, but in multiple bands before that. So he said that he always thought that Reita was just going to be there, just took it for granted that he'd always be there. And, they supported each other through everything. And he said that Reita was like both an older and younger brother to him. Not just a friend. And he also is really going to miss his performances and his really intense way of playing that he also really looked up to. He also said that he does really feel that Reita was there playing with them tonight, and then went into the same thing about how he wants to keep Gazette concerts as a place that people feel like they can come back to, and that there will always be the five of them together, and just wanted to, share his gratitude and everything. Then lastly, we had Aoi, and he has some really loud fans. He said thank you to everyone. At this point, Kai was still just crying in the background. And like Uruha, he just took it for granted that Reita would always be there, but that he also feels that he was there today, that he's supporting them as they play. And that performing in front of everybody here has reminded him that the Gazette really is the best. He also mentioned wanting the Gazette to be a home that everyone can return to. At this point, he was crying. Nuki was crying, Kai was crying, everybody's crying. Uruha was pretty much the only one holding it together, but I think he was just trying so hard that he wasn't crying. But yeah, Aoi, out of all of the four of them, was getting the most choked up as he was speaking. And he said that he wants us to be able to, as fans, rely on the band, and said thank you for loving. I didn't catch whether it was Reita or the Gazette as a whole, but after that, Ruki gave him a little sort of side hug and pat on the back. And finally, Ruki finished by saying that he had one more promise from all of them, which was that there's going to be another concert, also at Toyosu Pit, on September 12th, and that he hopes that at the next one, they can see everyone's smiling faces again, and that's a place that everyone can come to again. Like, to please keep supporting the five of them as a band. And of course, thank you. He wanted to share his gratitude from the bottom of his heart. Honestly, I was really surprised by how well Ruki held it together through all of the emceeing that he had to do. I know that must have been tough, but yeah, through most of it, he was being very brave about it, and they all were, honestly, while playing. There were definitely occasional tears here and there, but yeah, they were very brave to go do a concert so soon after all of that happened. And then the very last song was Unfinished, which was an extremely fitting choice, I think. Just the lyrics fit really well with all the things that they want to convey to the audience and the promises that they want to make going forward. And I think it was interesting too, because like this track list is basically the opposite direction of what they would do at any normal concert. Ending with Unfinished and starting with like Tomorrow Never Dies near the beginning. Yeah, it felt kind of like they went in a almost reverse sort of order in some ways, but I think, yeah, it was a very carefully selected track list, as we knew it would be. Then at the very end, there were a few more announcements and thank yous. Didn't write these down very much because I tried to write them down, but I cannot read what I wrote. Basically, a thank you to the staff, a thank you to the people who were watching, I think. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I was writing here, but this was the part where they were holding hands and talking. Yeah, I have no idea what most of this says. Something about let's keep living, and to get home safely, and that they love everyone. And then on the way out, some of them left quite quickly off the stage, after only a few waves. Ruki stayed around for a while and walked back and forth, waving a lot. And then on his way out, he patted Reita's speaker. And yeah. The crowd tried to call for an encore, even though the concert venue had announced that was the end of the show. Like, they turned on the lights, they had the end of the show announcement. Usually if there's an encore, the lights will stay off and they won't make any announcement. But there were still people trying to call for an encore. They tried for longer than I would have expected them to, but eventually gave up, gave one more round of applause, and then everybody started to leave. On the way out of the live, as we were going to pick up the drinks with the drink tickets, they gave us this bag of chirashi, which includes one chirashi that's for Reita's new bass driver that they will be selling later this year, and also has a nice picture from one of his last promotional shoots. Outside the hall, yeah, people are getting their drinks, hanging around, getting their stuff out of lockers. A lot of people just crying and hugging and taking their time, taking a little too much time. The concert hall staff came and had to slowly try to push everybody out, then a little bit further, then onto the street, and then told them please clear the street. And yeah, things kind of dispersed after that. But yeah, that was a very intense time. I think there's probably more things that I'm forgetting to say, future me will add them into this video if I remember them within the next day or two before I finish editing this video. But yeah, thank you for coming along on this journey with me. Do you like live reports? Do you want to see more Visual Kei content? I can do that, and hopefully I won't cry as much next time. But yeah, I'm really, really thankful that I got to experience this. And once again, just a huge shout out to everybody from Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram who shared with me their fan letters and fan art so that I could print it and take it to the band. Lots of love to all of you. Reading through those letters as I was printing them was pretty amazing. Seeing everybody come together to, contribute their letters and art and stuff really reminded me that this is a community. And yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it. Yeah, so many of us were just really sad, lonely kids out here who didn't really want to live anymore. And then the Gazette gave so many people so much hope. And that's really cool to see and really cool to be a part of a community like that. So yeah, Six Guns, y'all rock. Keep living, keep thriving, because so many of us are thriving now. Let's keep it up. I think part of this experience was not only about Reita, but reflecting on the impact that he's had on Visual Kei and the impact that the Gazette has had on so many people's lives around the world. And a lot of people took this as a chance not only to remember and thank Reita, but to just see how far we've all come since we first started listening to the Gazette. Maybe more Visual Kei stuff in the future, hopefully under more cheerful circumstances. And yeah, if you made it this far through the video, thanks for watching. Please take care, listen to the Gazette, and yeah, bye. Over the last few days, I've had a lot of people thank me for collecting and sharing the letters and for writing up some information about the lives, and even some people who asked if they could send me money for all of the letters and things that I printed. And I just want to say thank you for your thank yous. I'm really happy that I was able to do this for y'all and share a part of this live with you. Thanks for coming along with me. And yeah, I don't need any money for any of the letters or things. Just please keep passing the kindness forward to other Six Guns and everyone else around you, and keep spreading the Gaze love. All right, bye.